50 years ago, we met, as we had for the previous 50 years, in the Crystal Ballroom of the Leopold Hotel. The club was all men then. The owner of the paper mill was a member. The president of Pacific American Fisheries was a member, and Jimmy Brooks, Brooks Lumber. Rotary has always attracted the community leaders. In the beginning, those were mostly people who owned businesses and were the builders of industry.
Bellingham Club started out, and it was primarily a business person's club. You had to be a member of the Chamber of Commerce, and they were, in effect, the economic development entity in Bellingham that tried to make things happen.
When I joined Rotary, it was probably in Bellingham, in the business world, a membership that should be on your resume. And as new things came to town, their CEO was generally funneled into Rotary.
As time has evolved, Rotary membership is a little broader than that now, but it still is filled with the people that believe in community and work to make it a better community. And most of them were that way before they came to Rotary.
By meeting once a week with other business people, then you have a chance to expand one's outlook in the community and think bigger than just yourselves.
It provides a model of unique bringing together people from all kinds of backgrounds and religions and belief and politics, because we're a non-religious, non-political, non-sectarian organization, all focused on helping other people.
I don't think we raised money like we do now, 50 years ago, and I don't recall any major projects back then. So I think we've progressed in that regard.
Prior to 1991 or so, we raised money in various ways, and then we took that money and we parceled it out to various projects. No particular one project. And actually that became a detrimental effect on the club on how we raised the money. We found that if we could find one major project, that we could raise money easier. People would be willing to give money when they knew what the projects were going for.
We set a goal to raise $100,000 to support the Arnie Hanna swimming pool. And at that time, that was a huge amount of money for even our club to raise. It was extremely successful, and we did it 2 years in a row.
In other years, we would have a committee and people made proposals, and then we determined the projects. It was quite a vetting process, and it worked out well.
The goal is to have an annual project of at least $100,000. In the last 30 years, we've raised $2.3 million on this basis.
Getting everyone signed in to a particular project makes it go. It's where it becomes a community event. We've given money to a lot of charities to help build brick and mortar type projects. Lydia House is our most recent project.
Boulevard Park, and just things that we today take for granted. The joint project for the food bank, I think, is really a signature project for all the clubs and for what a community can do to respond to a significant community need.
Bellingham Food Bank started in 1972 as a program of the Unitarian Fellowship and pretty quickly became its own independent nonprofit. I started in 2004 and the building was falling apart around us. The roof was very leaky, everything was cramped, it was pretty depressing. It was sort of the opposite of what we were trying to tell the folks who needed our food bank, which is that we want to serve you with as much dignity as possible. I wrote a proposal to the Bellingham Rotary Club asking to put a new roof on and to do some seismic retrofitting. And they very quickly said no, because it wasn't a building worth saving. That's what they recognized. Their vision was a bit bigger and smarter than ours was, and 3 Rotary clubs started talking about working together on getting the food bank the facility that it and the people we were serving deserved. Very early on, club members from the design and build field brought a ton of expertise that then became contagious. Everyone was asked to pitch in where they could. It started with Rotary members, but then went well beyond to all the different people who were involved in constructing a 10,000 square foot facility. We opened in June 2008, and instantly we were just able to move food much more efficiently. We could receive more food. We served people much more quickly, so they didn't wait outside nearly as long. They weren't on top of each other. We've more than doubled how many people we're serving, and we're giving out probably a third more food than we were in 2007. And that's what this facility was designed to do. When clients leave, they're leaving with about 60 pounds of food. 70% of that is nutrient dense. It's fresh fruit, it's vegetables, it's milk, it's eggs, it's protein. And that's what folks are walking out with these days because of the support we get from the community. Thank you, Rotarians, for helping make this facility possible. It was a total game changer for the food bank, but more importantly, for the thousands and thousands of families we've served and our facility can now handle.
Each Rotarian has the opportunity to make a difference in this world, and that central focus on the Rotary Club and its members is the fuel that makes the engine go.
Rotary brings together people that have a lot of different skills, but can leverage each other, off each other, and end up being able to do a project larger than anybody individually would take on or could finance.
Having seen it in action when you think you couldn't possibly make a change, but through the collective efforts of this group, you can make the change. Just being a small cog in that wheel feels really good.
Rotary is the largest community service organization in the world, with 33,000 Rotary clubs now. We are connected throughout the world. For instance, if we have a project, as I have in Honduras, I don't have to go down and sort of stumble my way around. I get connected with individuals who are belonging to Rotary clubs in Honduras, and together we find a way to construct an effort that helps people.
One of our international projects was the water project in a village outside of Kampala in Uganda. The people that were in that area, some of them had to walk 30 miles to get this muddy water that they shared with animals. And I think one of my favorite Rotary moments was seeing the people in that village just go and turn on a faucet and get a glass of clean water that they could drink and not have to boil or do anything with.
Well, certainly Rotary's signature project has been the eradication of polio, and consistently over the last several years have worked very diligently to see that happen.
Rotary's led the way in reducing the cases of polio down to just a few a year in a couple of countries. The big benefit of Rotary is there are Rotarians all around the world, and it's those Rotarians that allowed access for health professionals to get to where they needed to go to vaccinate the people in all these different countries.
Being able to attend a Rotary meeting anywhere in the world, it really grounds you in that community and you're instantly welcomed. You're with a group of people that you can reach out to and you just have this friendship.
Just as much as people are getting together to either donate money or donate their time, they're getting together to be together. And I think that's what makes Rotary pretty significant, and they have fun in the process.
You know, goodwill, better friendships, building connections that can be put to use when necessary to bring about change.
In my opinion, the most important thing in Rotary is the connection between individual community leaders and community-minded people. Most of the good things that have happened in this community over the years have happened not necessarily because of a Rotary project, but because of Rotarians who came to know each other and like each other in Rotary, getting together and doing things.
One project that definitely stands out in my mind is the hospice house. We were able to bring together the heads of each of the other 4 clubs, Bellingham Bay, Sunrise, Whatcom North, and the Mount Baker Club. Each of those clubs made that project either the recipient of a large grant or their major fundraising project of the year.
Everybody wants to die in their home, ideally, but that just doesn't work for various reasons. And for my mother, it didn't work. Back in 1999, my mother ended up for 7 months in a hospice house down in Longview, Washington. The hospice house was an incredible environment, incredible service for the family and for the patient. And when I moved back to Bellingham, I decided that this community needed one, and I was not going to stop at no.
Prior to Hospice House in Whatcom County, we took care of hospice patients in the community, of course, and then when they had a difficult time, those folks would generally end up in a skilled nursing facility or the hospital, neither of which is a really comfortable, warm, inviting setting when you're nearing end of life.
I had gone to a Rotary meeting and I thought, what an incredible organization. And I started pitching the idea of a hospice house. Slowly but surely, it started gaining a little traction.
We started in '07. The construction team that we assembled to actually build the house was largely made up of Rotarians. They lent their technical expertise, but more than that, they brought passion.
All the Rotary clubs in town embraced it. And not only did they embrace it, they went gung-ho on it, and it was great.
There was a need, a greater mission than any one individual organization had. Many, many people came together.
Hospice House was built as a place of saying, here we are nearing the end of someone's life, and we're going to provide room for that, some grace for that, hopefully a lot of comfort around that, no matter your socioeconomic background or anything else.
Your family can be with you 24/7. You can bring artwork from home. You can have your pets come by.
It does not read like a facility, but it has all the pieces it needs to have to take great care of people.
When we were designing the house, we tried to imagine what the experience would be. The oversized south-facing doors that allow the beds to be wheeled out onto the patio, and all kinds of other small details were envisioned during the design and construction process. Fast forward a year later, the house is open, my mom has cancer, and she's at the end of her life, and we come here. I've gone from the construction person to the family member with a loved one here. And I did wheel my mom out onto the patio and discovered that it works. We went outside and she pulled her shirt up just a little bit so she could feel the sun on her stomach and was unconscious inside of 12 hours later. It's something that I'll forever be grateful for, that my family could be here and my mom could have that experience.
If I could say anything to Rotarians, it would of course be thank you. That, however, does not feel like a big enough set of words.
I applaud Rotarians for all that you've done and all that you're doing. You're making a mark on the community, so keep up the good work.
I think Rotary's an engine for goodness. It's a group of people that care about where they live and where their families live and their neighbors live, and they try and promote goodness, plain and simple.
Because we have this amazing hospice house built by our community, Rotarians at the helm, we get to say to people over and over that we will take care of you no matter what.
Rotary's survival key is figuring out how to keep old guys like me fired up and interested and meet the needs of our younger people.
I think Rotary just needs to, worldwide, just keep exploring new ways to stay relevant.
The challenge is continuing to find energetic people to become members.
If you don't have adequate membership, you can't generate the resources. Not only the skills of the people involved, but the financial resources.
I'm hoping that Rotary will make needed changes so that we can be contemporized, so that we can be an inviting opportunity for young people, because without the young people joining Rotary, Rotary will cease to exist.
I believe we can modify how Rotary does its good works to bring those members in.
That means being open to new opportunities, maybe things that aren't traditional opportunities. I remember the time that the Bellingham clubs discussed whether women should be in Rotary.
Women were not allowed in Rotary until the late 1970s, and we've come a long way.
I remember sitting in the board of directors meeting when the subject was broached about bringing women into Rotary. Dead silence in the room.
I remember voting on it. I voted against it. I don't think maybe I don't want to let that be known. I voted against including women, but it was a mistake.
I recall we lost a few members over it. I also recall we lost a few members when we restricted smoking. So
it's an important reminder of some of the things that we take for granted today are really relatively new historically.
Despite Rotaries being on the planet for 120 years and in Bellingham for 100 years, all the needs that are out there haven't been filled by all the good work that Rotary has done. And in fact, there's probably more need out there today than there ever was, and I think it'll always be that way.
I think it was Martin Luther King that said that life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are we doing for others? And in this day of incredible divisiveness, I think it's just so important for Rotary to continue to provide a model of people from all over the world coming together and doing what they can to help others that need help.
Yesterday was, I hope, important, and I hope it's important today, but 50 years from now, nobody's apt to remember us as individuals. Maybe they'll remember what we did.
The Rotary Club of Bellingham has an amazing 100-year legacy of giving back to the community. But I truly believe it is just the beginning, and the next 100 years is going to be more significant, more visible. We might look different, but I believe that Rotary will be able to continue to do these great works the next 100 years.